I've got 2 seats over here on this side. Get through here. This is a good turnout. We're glad to see you tonight. My name is Steve Perdue, and I'm head of the Genealogy and Local History Department here at the Saline County Library. This is our monthly Genealogy and Local History program tonight. And before I get to that, though, I want to remind you about some upcoming programs that we have. Next month, Monday, August 23rd, I'll be doing a program. Maybe you're not aware that on November the 2nd of this year, Saline County will be 175 years old. And so we'll be having our anniversary. And I'm going to do a program on Monday, August 23rd on 175 years of Saline County history. And we're going from the Caddo and the Quapaw and the Osage all the way up to the present time. And I'm going to be showing boundaries of Saline County and how they changed over the years. And you're going to look at the maps, and then you'll also see some very historic photographs of Saline County, especially in the 1900s to 1915 time period. There's going to be a lot of buildings that you may have heard of and seen, and so I hope you can make that. That's Monday, August 23rd from 6:30 to 7:30 here in this room. And also then on in September we have the history of Saline County post offices, all the post offices in Saline County, how they changed through the years. And Mr. Russell Baker, who used to be with the Arkansas History Commission, will be presenting that program on the history of Saline County post offices here in Saline County. And then in October, I believe it's, I can't remember the date. In October, we have Dr. Mary Beth Trubitt of Henderson State University, and she will be up here from Arkadelphia, and she is with the Arkansas Archaeological Survey, and she'll be presenting a program on the Caddo on the Saline River. And so if you'd like to know more about the Caddo Indians, it's always an interesting program. She'll be talking about that in October. That's the program in October. And then on November the 2nd, Election Day, that's when Saline County is 175 years old. On November the 2nd, 1835, that's when Saline County was formed. And Freddie talked about having speakings the night before, but then he realized he's going to have a busy day on November the 2nd, so he did Freddie Burton, the county clerk. So he decided not to do that. But we're going to have here in the library, we're going to have Happy Birthday Saline County, just a reception. This room is going to have pictures of different buildings in Saline County. And we're also going to have cupcakes from 2 to 3, so you can have some cake and wish Saline County a happy 175th birthday. So that's going to take place on November the 2nd, Election Day. So after you vote, come by and have a cupcake. And then in November, November 8th and 9th, we're going to have Coach Harold Steelman from Little Rock. He's going to present his World War I to Afghanistan collection of uniforms. We had that here last year in the library. Maybe some of you saw it. He'll be displaying that again here in this room, and it's a wonderful collection. Harold Coach Steelman brings down and provides that, and that's on November the 8th and 9th. And then in November the 28th, Tim Erst is coming. He's coming not in December this year, he's coming in November. And so he'll be here, I think it's November the 28th that he'll be here in the library presenting another Arkansas history program. And then I'm going to finish out the year and I'll be quiet. In December, we have Dr. Blake Wintry from Lake Village, Arkansas, and he'll be here talking about the Lakeport Plantation, which has just been revitalized down near Lake Village. And Arkansas State University in Jonesboro has taken that on and they've restored it. And he is the curator there at Lakeport Plantation. He'll be talking about that, and that's in December. So that finishes out the year, and hope that you can make some of these monthly programs on Arkansas and Saline County history. Tonight, our speaker is probably known to a lot of you. He's a favorite son of Saline County. Anthony Rushing is a sixth-generation Saline Countian, a lifelong resident of the Salem community. After graduating from Bryant High School, he received his BS degree in geology from Arkansas Tech, as well as certification for teaching and coaching. Rushing has held teaching and coaching positions in the West Memphis, Rising, Woodlawn, and Bryant Public Schools. Rushing initiated the forming of the David O. Dodd Camp of Sons of Confederate Veterans in 1983 and the Saline County History and Heritage Society in 1985. He served in various positions within these local organizations, as well as past terms on the board of directors for the Gann Museum and the Historic Shop House. Interest in the war between the states and Confederate military history, especially Saline County soldiers, led Rushing to author Ranks of Honor, A History of the 11th Arkansas Infantry and Poe's Cavalry, and published Rack and Sack Raiders, Crawford's Arkansas Cavalry in the Journal of Civil War Regiments. He's also published numerous articles in newspapers and magazine articles, as well as short history of the Salem Methodist Campground titled Cloud of Witnesses. Upon completion of his thesis, Rushing will be awarded an MS in Public History from ULR with emphasis on museums and archives operation and administration. Rushing is a captain and 19-year veteran of the Arkansas Army National Guard, with mobilizations in 2003 and 2005, serving in Company B, 935th CSBN Operations Armored Falcon, and again in 2007 and 2009 as a member of 151st Cavalry Squadron, 39th Infantry Brigade Combat Team, Operation Iraqi Freedom. After returning from Iraq, he resumed duties as Command Historian of the Arkansas National Guard at the Arkansas National Guard Museum at Camp Robinson in North Little Rock. Rushing is currently employed by the Bryant Schools as a teacher of history and lives in the Salem community with a wife and 3 children. He's currently working on editing and publishing the Civil War letters of 4 Saline County brothers and their families to hopefully be published next year during the celebration of the 2011-2015 Civil War sesquicentennial. So let's give a good hand to Anthony Rushing.
Is it too late to back out, Steve? I didn't figure I'd be talking to this many people, so I'll try to muddle my way through it. I'll probably have to step around sometime, so if I'm talking away, can y'all hear me in the back okay? So that way, because I'll have to see some of this to point out some things to you. Of course, this is the marker at the battle, or near the battlefield. I'm sure most of you have seen it. The battle was October 23rd, 1864. Next slide, Steve. And for those that hadn't, this is the write-up on the marker. Just tells a general history of what went on there. The key thing I want you to remember, I guess, are the casualties here at the bottom. 28 killed, 11 wounded, 1 captured. They've rolled up all Confederate and U.S. casualties together, but that 1 captured is the thing I want you to kind of keep in the back of your mind when we get to it. And I'm not going to insult your intelligence by reading it to you, so to understand this battle, though, we have to kind of put things in context, the big picture, because this was just one little event that occurred in 1864 as a result of bigger events that were going on. Steve, next slide. We have to understand the strategic situation a little bit about what was going on in the state. For the Confederates, the big thing was they were trying to break the stalemate that was in Arkansas at that time. Typically, the Confederates were numerically too weak to come in and attack Little Rock and retake Little Rock, which had fallen in 1863. On the same token, the Union forces, they grossly overestimated how many people the Confederates in Arkansas actually had. And they based that a lot on their strength reports, because if you've got a company, it's supposed to have so many men in it, in a regiment, and the Confederates didn't have the ready supply of replacements like the Union forces did, so they tended to overestimate how many men the Confederates actually had based on the knowledge of what they had. They also feared an attack on Little Rock and Pine Bluff. That was their main supply points, and they were constantly thinking the Confederates were about to just come crashing down on them and that was the thing that drove a lot of their strategy and tactics. The way they were going to break the stalemate was General Sterling Price decided he wanted to take a big mounted expedition of about 12,000 men into Missouri and recapture Missouri, and that would pull the Union Army out of Arkansas and hopefully relieve some of the pressure here. In doing this, he's going to leave just the infantry back in Arkansas. And there wasn't that many here. Some accounts say roughly 4,000, but he was taking all the cavalry, and that was an important thing. He just left a small group of cavalry behind, which we're going to talk about the majority of them tonight. And the infantry were in little outposts or in fortified villages in towns like Camden, Arkadelphia, Rockport, Princeton, Tulip, Benton, and Monticello. Next slide, please. Now for the Union, after the fall of Little Rock, a lot of the citizens in the area had moved out from the vicinity of Little Rock, moved further south. And just south of the Arkansas River, pretty much considered a no man's land. There wasn't a lot of people living there. Both armies occupied it, took a lot of the supplies. But for the Union Army, they just wanted to hold their own at Little Rock. They tried it, they kind of got a little brave and came down in April of '64, and they made it as far as Camden before they had to run back to Little Rock, and they were content to sit there at Little Rock and hopefully weather the storm there. Principally, they wanted to maintain a presence in all the main cities along the Arkansas River to be used for supply points, especially since they owned the river traffic. And the other thing was establish the loyal government of the state. Arkansas was the first big push to get a loyal state back into the Union, and I think Arkansas would become the first one to be termed Lincoln's 10% amnesty and become a loyal state. At times, though, Benton it was occupied by both sides. Rockport, Princeton, Tulip, the same way. Those weren't areas where they stayed. Principally Monticello, Camden, Old Washington, that was the Confederate Army post. Next slide. Okay, here's a map. This is a period map drawn by U.S. Army topographical engineers just to kind of give you what they put down as what Saline County was. You got Little Rock here, of course, Benton's here, there's Collegeville. J.H. Crease, he was a man of importance. I don't know if any of y'all are familiar with him. He was from England, but he was on the military board with Governor Rector, and if you want to know where that's what we call Prickett Dairy back in Saline County. That's the Crease place. Matter of fact, Freddie Prickett found in 1859 $50 when he was plowing his garden. So J.H. Crease was a pretty important man. Okay, here's Pine Bluff down here. There's Jenkins Ferry. Here's Hurricane Creek. Saline River, it's kind of hard to tell the way the topographical engineer drew it, but it comes down through here to Jenkins Ferry. That's just, and of course, Monticello would be down here. Camden would be off the map over here. But that's just to orient you to what was going on here.
Where's Cliff's Mill?
Cliff's Mill, that's over on kind of the fair play on Highway 67. Once you cross over past the state hospital, and that was Cliff's Mill. Cliff family. Next slide, Steve. Okay. The strategic situation in the summer was one thing, it was changing in the fall. Of course, Sterling Price took all the cavalry with him in August and moved north, and so 95% of the cavalry was absent in Missouri. The importance of this is the cavalry was how they notified the different cities or commanders what was going on. That was your communication. With no modern communication, the cavalry was it. Plus the cavalry was able to keep an eye on what was going on. So the Confederates didn't have much here, so it was going to be tough on them in South Arkansas to keep up with what the Union was doing. They held Monticello, Arkadelphia, Camden, and Washington. That's where their major infantry outposts were, and they would periodically